There we go.
There we go.
There we are.
Apparently, we are live.
We are.
Welcome everybody to Cash Canada Chance about Adventure Labs, and we want to introduce our co-hosts. This is no, there we go, Chris and Angie, the three happy campers from Chattanooga, Tennessee area.
So glad you could join us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about Adventure Labs, and we have a bunch of guests lined up. And first of all, we want to say that we wanted so much to do the Adventure Labs in Chattanooga, but we just didn't have time to fit them into our schedule. So, Chris and Angie, you'll have to tell us about your experience. And I know you have a video on one of them so far. I did watch it, so we did get to see that. So tell us about the Adventure Labs you've done in Chattanooga.
Well, actually, since the first one published, there's been 2 others published, so now we have a total of 3.
Oh, 3 now.
Yeah, 3, and there's more to come because there's been several people in our area that have been awarded, including us. We've been awarded one.
Wow.
So we're just starting the research on ours. It took us a while to decide what we wanted to do. But the one that we did the video on was put out by our friends, Team Bearcat, and it was about some of the first things that happened in Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of it's called Chattanooga First, and it just happened to be the first Adventure Lab to be published, so it's kind of
that's cool.
unique how that happened. But it takes you on a very, about a 2-hour walking tour of downtown Chattanooga.
Wow.
From almost like one end to the other. So it kind of starts at the banks of the Tennessee River, and then it kind of takes you through the middle of downtown to the other side. So it's very scenic. There's a lot of cool architecture in our downtown, but a lot of cool things that we learned about Chattanooga that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's always
As far as
fun.
some of the things that first happened, yeah. And then the 2 other ones that have been recently published, one of them was put out by a local geocacher named Hatch, and hers is about the Bluff View Art District down by the Tennessee River. We have a really nice museum down there called Hunter Art Museum, and it has modern and contemporary art. And we haven't done that one yet. We hope to get out and do that one tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 3rd one just published, I think, yesterday, and it has something to do with the Trail of Tears and how the Cherokee Indians went through this area. Because Cherokee's in the name. I can't recall what the exact name of it is, but maybe we can do those because it's kind of cool when you're in an area, and there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
You can but one of the things that, I don't know if Hatch has joined us yet, I kind of let some of our friends know that this was going on tonight, and got some information from them on what we could bring up in our discussions, and we can talk about that later. But it would be cool if the app had some way to where you could do both Adventure Labs at the same time, because they do kind of overlap each other.
Yeah, we did.
Tricky going back and forth.
Yeah.
When we did the Midwest Geobash, you probably saw from our video, we did 2 Adventure Labs and geocaching at the same time.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of juggling.
Well, there weren't just us. We were a group of people, so
that was easier because one of you could have one app up and so forth and so on. But it would be cool if that interface kind of intermingled at some point down the line.
Yeah.
But,
so you don't end up retracing all your steps. It's like, we were just there and we missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see Dave Manning. He just published his an hour ago.
Oh,
Congratulations.
wow.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well,
First and only one in Wyoming.
I was awarded one as well, so I'm going to be working on that.
Great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're going to be going out this week while we're still allowed to get out. And we're going to look at some locations in downtown London. So.
I figured I picked the location, so now it's just a matter of doing the scouting and the research. So,
which is so much fun. You know, we kind of started the research on ours, and I can't believe what we've learned about this local area we're going to do ours in. I can't believe what we've learned about it just by researching it.
Have you opened up the editor yet?
We have not. We have not. Let me tell you what we did today. We finally got enough time to sit down and watch some of Derek's Adventure Lab videos that he's put together, which are so informative. They are so well put together. And we kind of saw the steps to take to start building ours. So, no, actually, we went to the email and clicked on the link, but that's as far as we've gotten.
Yeah. I found it helpful when you start building it, if you open up the editor just to see what it looks like.
Yeah, and we
Because you're
saw
allowed to put so many characters per page, and then you can have pictures or video.
Yeah.
And then
I love that you're able to put YouTube video in there.
Yeah.
Link.
Yeah, I
It
did.
really adds a lot of creativity.
For mine, I did once the location was done, and you got the for that, when you clicked on the journal entry, a YouTube video popped up with me talking about the location, and then an extra hint for each location for an extra puzzle cache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very cool. We hope to use video in ours as well. I think it's just a great opportunity for vloggers, especially since we have the tools to make something like that happen, to make it part of it. I worry, though, about people being able to watch it in the field. You know what I'm saying? As far as if it's outdoors, are they going to have a hard time seeing it? I don't know. We haven't really gotten to that point yet.
We've already got into that with somebody that wants to go to the States, but they won't have data. So
Right.
it's not my
your
adventure
Wi-Fi.
lab is not for everyone, because my adventure lab actually it straddles the border. There are 3 caches in Canada and 2 in the United States along the Niagara River. So
very cool.
because you're going to another country, so I don't know.
How unique is that?
Yeah, it's the only one that we know of. Our guest can attest that he did some research into it. It was the very first, and probably might still be the only one that was an international adventure lab. So I'm kind of proud about that.
Very much so. That is very cool. I like that.
So we're going to bring in Derek Baker, Baker 6 Clan. There you go. Hi, Derek.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Do I have a banner for you? No, I don't. Derek, you have a channel. It's called Behind the Cache. If anybody hasn't heard of it before, Behind the Cache deals with geocaching, but a kind of a twist. You talk to people and see how the caches are made. And you did a couple of great videos on making an adventure lab.
Right. And that was the whole point. The way that came about is actually I was listening to one of, the HQ podcast, and they were talking about it. And I kind of asked Brian, I said, hey, has anybody done any of these as like a tutorial kind of thing? He's like, no, they haven't. So Brian's like, here, let's talk about it. So we talked about it, and I got a chance to put one together and put a tutorial together for HQ and put it out through my channel. So that's kind of where that all came about. So that was,
you did a great job.
It was a lot of fun. Learned a lot about Elvis and going to the locations and and I saw some comments in the chat room. Yeah, the actually getting into it app is really easy to do.
Yeah.
What I did when I was going around, and I talked about this in my videos, that I put everything, after I did my research, put everything in a Word file. And so that way when I got into doing the actual building of it in the app, I just cut and paste. And,
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
The hardest part was you're limited to so many characters in a section. So it was like, 1,024 characters per location.
Yeah.
I have one location that you have to do an Alfendor cipher. Well, I had to put the cipher part into the description, couldn't put it all into the question part for the answer because it wouldn't fit. So they have to go back in there. The hint is that at the top when they go to, it's like S1 means side 1 of this sign, S2 is side 2. So that's basically the hint and how it came out. But had to be a little creative to do that.
Yeah.
So, but it was a lot of fun. Just really great. I mean, I couldn't believe there wasn't an adventure lab out here for Elvis yet.
I know. That was perfect. We can't wait to get out there and do that one.
Right. So another aspect that I really like about, because we were talking about this before, that that I really like about Adventure Labs because that you can actually have them as private Adventure Labs.
Yes.
You don't have to have them for just the public, which is having them for public is great. But the aspect for a private one that I really like, and if I get awarded another one or might talk to Geocache Talk and maybe we can get a special one for St. Jude out here. But what I thought about is for the students, or not students, the patients and the families that have to come out here to St. Jude for cancer treatment, instead of them going out into the public and being exposed to all the germs and illness and everything like that, if we did one around campus for them, they could do while on campus and it'd just be private for them. So I thought that might be a good aspect that could do that, and just maybe some ideas that others would have for Adventure Labs as well, as the private aspect of it.
I love the idea of St. Jude.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, but yeah, that's just Adventure Labs are great. I absolutely love them. It's a good time to go out with everything going on and not have to mess with the physical container too right now.
That's
Yep.
right.
Awesome. So everybody has an Adventure Lab done so far. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Do you think there's a possibility of them getting too overpopulated?
No.
No.
I mean, look at ours now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the map with regular geocaching. Do we think it's overpopulated?
No.
Okay, so the answer is no.
There you go.
You can never have enough geocaches.
No, and that's the thing. I mean, I've seen some comments about making some locational lists here and there. I like those. Those are kind of cool. The biggest thing I liked about those is that how the community came together and really worked on, especially the one that was over, was the Labrador one. I mean, hate them or leave them, hate them or love them. I mean, that the part that I really liked was how the community came together.
Yeah.
Helping those on the puzzles. So my aspect of thinking of that is like, hey, during this time, you're having a problem with a puzzle. You know what? Why not do the same thing and get together and solve a puzzle, and let's see if we can solve it out. And then when everything lifts, let's go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, I'm going to be joining. I think I haven't told Karen about it yet, but we're joining in a live chat on Facebook on virtual puzzle solving.
okay, yeah, that would be great.
Tuesday night, and people are saying we can't get together, but let's solve a puzzle. I'm like, great.
Oh, that's a good
When
idea.
is that? When is that going to happen?
Yeah.
It's on Tuesday night, 8:00. I don't know what the puzzle was around Toronto. I think I can't remember where, but
Okay,
I thought
That's a neat thing to do.
but that would be something
you
for
you can
everybody.
do that kind of thing in your own areas and just get on Facebook chat and talk about caching within your own area with different people and say, hey, I can't get this cache, or this puzzle. Can somebody help me out? So
Yeah, we have one that's up for an FTF that's been up for an FTF for 3 years.
Ooh.
wow.
Yeah, it's driving me nuts. I've looked at it.
Wow, 3 years.
Where's it at? In Memphis?
Yeah, it's in Memphis. It's about probably about 4 miles from me right now, at least the location, and it's just several pictures on there.
Huh.
But yeah, so
Let's
it's
see.
I've tried tackling it a few times, and there's no there's no coordinate checker on it, so that's
Oh,
We have one that went 8 months without getting solved. And,
Yeah.
love a good puzzle cache.
and this one there. I'll send you the GC later.
Yeah,
See what you can figure
I'd
out.
like to look at it.
Here's a comment from Scott. It could throw the game out of balance. People do the Adventure Lab and forget about right. I don't think so. Current original virtual? Nah, maybe.
Well, what I think is it just adds another part of the game. For instance, like my dad, he doesn't like going to get physical containers because he feels kind of this is kind of he just feels uncomfortable doing it.
Yeah.
But he likes virtuals. He likes like doing the earth caches, and he really doing like the Adventure Labs. He's going to be able to go to these places that he already is going to, and he's going to get to read more. I mean, so or whatever that aspect of it is. So it's just another aspect to a game that I think brings it more rounded, where we all can play our own game.
Yeah.
well, I think too, it also helps. Technology is advancing, and it supports that. So we're moving on. We're not just doing the same old. We're advancing with this game.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if anybody's done it. This would be really cool is if somebody brought in augmented reality as well into Adventure Lab.
Oh,
That would be really cool. I mean, because you can send them to a different website, So if you go to the website and you activate your camera and you're looking, that would be really neat. You see the clues in that, and then it ties into the Adventure Lab.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that they're wanting to do with the platform, what I understand, and so it's going to be expanding. I mean, it's really just in its baby stages right now.
I can see Jeff May, the Bruce Zero cast doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, so that would be kind of cool. I think that would be really neat to do that aspect of it. I haven't done really any augmented reality. I know there was one down in Texas last year, but every location I've been at, I haven't been able to find any. So I think that'd be a really fun aspect of it.
Okay, we're going to bring in another guest. We're going to bring in Dougie B. Dougie B. There you go.
Good evening, everyone.
How you doing?
Dougie B has created the map of North America Adventure Labs.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. Hey, just before we get into it, one comment. Somebody just mentioned augmented reality. There are 2 in Nebraska that leverage metaverse. So get out to Nebraska and do those.
That sounds great.
When the border opens?
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be getting out to Nebraska at some point, somewhere. We travel all over.
There you go.
Tell us about your mapping experience.
Well, when the Adventure Lab app came out, I guess almost a year ago now, about a year now, I started looking at it, and one of the things that I like to do is I like to plan road trips. I like to plan where I'm going and when I'm going to get there and what I'm going to do on the way. And I noticed that there was a gap in the application. Hey, Ken. The gap was that there was no map. You could see the list in that first iteration of that application, but there was no map. And I thought, okay, well, in order for make it easier to me to start planning where I want to go, I'm going to create a map. And I just sat down one day, and when there was, 15 or 20 of these adventure labs, I started plotting them on a map. And then there were 50, and then there were 100. And as of today, there are 768. Well, 769. Somebody said that they just published one an hour ago.
Yeah.
In North America, and there's over 2,000 across the world now.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, and then I started sharing the map with local cachers in the Ontario, Canada area, and I got a lot of positive feedback. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep it up, keep sharing it, and as it stands right now, there have been 21,000 views.
Oh,
Wow.
that's amazing.
Since it was first published in May of 2019.
That's awesome.
Try to find. We used the map when we went on our recent road trip just to check to see any adventure labs along the way.
Is that part of the app?
And mind you, it was nice to have it on the. I can't put that. Yeah, if I would love to share the URL for the adventure lab here, but it's way too long. So, where can they find the map? That's the question right here.
Well, if you go into the geocaching Facebook page or the Adventure Lab Facebook group, let me just get the correct name. Adventure Lab Caches group on Facebook. It's published in there. And what I'll do, Dave, is I'll create a bit.ly and send that to you.
Oh, okay.
And then you can add it. And that way we can have a shortened URL.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I have a question for you. How do you keep up with all the new adventure labs coming in? How do you find a new one's got published, or is it just by hearsay, or what?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it's challenging, and if you were looking at the map over the last few months, you may have noticed that there was a lag. There's been several hundred caches, adventure labs published since the beginning of the year, and I really got behind. The way that I do it is I open up the app and I scroll through the list. That's how I do it.
Really?
Yeah. So if you've looked at the Adventure Lab map, you'll notice that the organization is a little screwy. You probably can't figure out, hey, why is he organizing it this way? There's one in the Toronto area, and then you look down and some in Detroit, and you look down and they're all over the place. Well, the way that it's organized is, of course, when you open the Adventure Lab app and the list, it starts listing them closest to you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So I started out creating the map, trying to organize it by geography, and very quickly I became overwhelmed in trying to keep things organized when there was new Adventure Labs that popped up.
Yeah.
So how I've organized the map is the same way the list appears when I'm sitting at my computer at home. So it makes it easy. I can open up the application, I can look at the list, and then I can quickly, compare with my map. I do 3 at a time, then scroll, then 3 at a time, then scroll. And if I see a difference between my map and the application, then I know that there's a new one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Well,
Well,
thank you for
that's
doing that.
you're welcome. That's actually the simplest part of it. The scrolling is quite simple, but what I decided to do at one point was to sort of enrich the information that I put in the map. So not only have I listed the general location of each adventure lab, I also indicate how many locations are within that adventure, whether they can be done in any order, if there's an associated final or mystery cache, and I actually do a screenshot of the main page of the Adventure Lab and include that in a link inside the Adventure Lab map. So the process is, I find a new one, I take a screenshot on my phone, I send it via email, I put it in a special directory and rename it, I upload it to Google Drive, and then I go and add it into the map. It takes between 5 and 10 minutes for each new adventure to be put into the map.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Not all of the adventures have the little thing on the side. So you have to add that for each one?
The little thing on the side.
Like on the side of the banner, there's more information on it.
So they all have that. Each and every one has it. Some of the original ones that I put in, so there's about 100 that I put in that don't have a link to a screenshot yet.
Yeah.
I'm catching up on those.
Oh, okay.
Each and every one has a little tab. And as I said in the tab, it tells you how many locations, if there's a bonus cache, and for most of them now, a link to a screenshot.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot of work.
It is. If any of you happen to be talking to HQ about Adventure
Yeah.
Labs, my one wish, I want them to put me out of business.
There you go.
Right.
Okay.
We heard the comment earlier that it'd be nice to have an integrated map, have all this in one place, integrated application.
Yeah.
That's my hope, is that HQ will absolutely figure out a way to put all of these Adventure Labs on the same map with the rest of our geocaching, and I won't be doing this anymore.
I know they're working on it. I know that it's something that I've heard Brian say a couple times that is something that they're working on. They're hoping to have it before the end of the year. But with everything going on, who knows what's happening? They're all working from home right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we were hoping to have Kelly Taylor on. She's working on the Adventure Labs in HQ. She's on the road right now, driving towards her parents to work from home there instead of in Seattle. So she might come on later. She did send me a message. She's on the road right now, so hopefully we can get her on.
that's great. One of the other things that it would probably help you out, Dougie B, would be have notifications, so you wouldn't have to sit there and scroll. You get notified, hey, there's a new Adventure Lab. I can go check this one out.
Yeah.
So certainly that's one of several enhancements that I can think around Adventure Labs. One of the other ones is getting GPX files again. We used to be able to get GPX files for lab caches prior to the Adventure Lab app being launched. And if any of you are in some of the Adventure Lab groups that are on Facebook, you'll see that there is quite a community that's built up to sort of crowdsource those GPX files and try and maintain them. But challenge with what's happening is that it's really not following any set of standards or guidelines.
Yeah.
So the quality control around them is not not great. The other problem with that is just like me making the map, somebody has to take the time to figure out where all the locations are, create a GPX file in GSAC and upload it. Whereas, Groundspeak has this data. It shouldn't be a big deal for them to create it. I realize they've got to go through a process, and I'm looking forward to the day when we get notifications, we get GPX files, we have one map.
Yeah.
Those things will be fantastic, and certainly will enhance the Adventure Lab experience for not just me, but for everyone.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. Very good.
So I have a question
Yes.
for our panelists. How many Adventure Labs have you done now?
And I was supposed to research that, and I haven't. I think about 8, I think, so far.
Wow.
Total labs. Let's see here. Let me get into my.
I could get in my our word.
Yeah, I'm getting a Project GC real quick. Good question.
Does it tell you Adventure Lab?
Yeah, it'll tell you. It'll tell you labs. It'll tell you actual labs, and I can.
Oh, okay.
We hadn't been to really too many events, so I had not done the actual labs themselves. So it's pretty easy for me to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I think it is actually total. It says lab caches total, 51 different ones. 9. So I'd probably say about 10, because some of them were smaller ones.
Are those since the Adventure Lab app was launched?
It's all since the Adventure Lab app was launched.
And had you done any adventures, any quote lab caches prior to the?
No, hadn't done any lab caches prior to that.
Oh, okay.
So I gathered my stats before coming online tonight, and since the application has launched, I've done 46 adventures with 272 locations.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I've done 61 adventures in total with 396 locations.
I don't know how many that I had lab caches before the Adventure Labs came out, but I just checked and I have 287 labs.
Yeah, you guys get around.
Yeah, we do. Maybe not so much for a while, but we're going to be stuck in Ontario for a bit.
Well, there's lots and lots in Ontario. There's lots in Quebec. There's lots for you to do in this neck of the woods.
Yeah, we might go, if we're still able. Well, tomorrow we're going to the Niagara region to do some virtuals and earth caches.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's any Adventure Labs out. Maybe if there is, we might pick them up.
I haven't checked lately to see.
No, we did the ones along the Niagara River. Toronto, we might go just to drop some stuff off to our daughter. We'll drop it outside the door and knock and leave.
Hey, there's a great Adventure Lab in Toronto about train spotting.
Oh yeah. So there's quite a few down there. So we might get some of those. It'll be nice and quiet. We'll have an easy time finding parking. So we're going to bring on another guest here. He's been waiting so patiently to come on, and we would like to introduce you to Cash Drone. There you
Hello.
go. And
So I guess my first question is, Dave, why am I just hearing about this now that you guys are coming to my hometown in Niagara Falls tomorrow?
We just planned it.
we just planned it.
We were going to come
Yes,
today,
there's no text message. Okay, I get
but
it.
And we'll have to have a beer on opposite ends of the backyard. We can't social distancing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what
So
can I do
we-
for you here today?
We wanted to bring you on board to get the view from a reviewer. Now, reviewers, if anybody doesn't know, you can tell them all about it. You have basically nothing to do with Adventure Labs.
Not entirely true, but for the most part true. Yeah, so from the reviewer standpoint, we only handle the bonus caches that are based off of Adventure Lab. So as I'm sure probably most of your viewers know, sometimes there'll be a grand finale for a bunch of geocaches, or in this case an adventure lab where clues are provided in every stage, and those lead to a physical container. Those still go through the standard review process, and of course because they're a bonus cache, they must be listed as a mystery cache. Even if you put a stamp in it to try to make it into a letterbox, because it's a bonus cache, that supersedes everything and becomes a mystery.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I know Cash Drone helped with my bonus cache. And it was really nice to have the ear of a reviewer when I was doing that.
I think I'm on your speed dial now.
I think you are, yes.
I have one on my.
You'll be seeing a lot more of Cash Drone. If you've seen our recent videos, he's in there already for our road trip. And the episode that's coming out on today at 8:15, you'll see a bit more of him there too. Let me see. And we did do an adventure lab while we were there.
We did several while we were away.
Yeah, the video that's coming out, there was a mention of one, but I think we actually did in Nashville. Did we do 2 or 3?
I just followed your lead, buddy.
Yeah, I think it was at least 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did one on Muhammad Ali. And
Yeah.
was that Nashville? No, that was Louisville. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're all blown together. We did quite a few.
They were
Okay,
fun
here's
though
a-
because we got really a good look at the downtown area or the area that the lab caches were about,
Yeah.
and great touring.
There's a question from Gary. Do bonus caches also need to be solvable without doing the adventure lab?
They do not. You can have them be solvable only in doing the adventure lab if you so desire.
Okay.
I like having a bonus cache because it ties together the original concept of geocaching with having a container.
Mhm.
So something
It does.
I agree.
to log, a physical log.
Are most of them put together doing bonus caches? What I wonder what the
That's a really tough call because we really only see the ones when they're bonuses.
Right.
We're not really aware of how many get published. For example, my fiance Outsiders 2 has one down in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and there is no bonus associated with that one. Whereas London Westy has already alluded to the fact that his international one, first of its kind, only of its kind, best of its kind, is has a bonus to it, and I'm looking forward to getting the other 4 stages one day, so I can finally go get that final.
Yeah, legally.
Well, I can tell you all that of the 768 adventures in North America, there are 166 associated bonus caches.
Oh.
huh?
Right. I knew I
Probably
did
more
not
than
go
that.
one with mine.
Huh.
The locations that mine were all at, that for Elvis, you can't really put a cache in
Yeah.
those locations.
Right.
So interestingly, and I'll direct this to Colin, although most of the bonus caches in North America are in fact unknowns or mysteries, there are several other types. There are multis, there are letterboxes, and there's a couple of actually 3 that use traditional caches to create a prefix that you need in order to log the actual adventure itself.
Oh,
Okay, so I guess in response to that, I will say our usual default position is this is a global game played locally. So what might fly in one area may not work in another area, and we always just try to be as consistent as possible with the guidelines provided by geocaching.com. However, we are always open to stepping a little bit outside of that fuzzy area as possible now. I mean, there's some areas where they're a lot more open-minded and some are very by the book. Your mileage may vary.
yes, I know the change that they made was one of the changes they made was they removed. Some people were putting caches, the containers within the adventure lab. I know one of them here in our city. We went to one of the location, and instead of identifying something from that location, you actually had to go to a tree that was nearby, find the cache, and then input the code that was from that cache. And they have disallowed that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And so you can't have a physical cache within the adventure lab anymore. You can have a bonus outside of it, but
Right.
not within it anymore.
Well, now, how strict are they as far as distance between each stage? I mean, just a normal walking distance, or can it be like in the?
You can have an adventure lab down an alley, 5 locations within one alley.
Yeah,
It's
I
all-
believe-
Can you also have it across town where it's would take
A car to
a
drive
car
to?
drive to? Okay.
Yeah, mine has you have to use a car. Now I believe the geocaching vlogger Joshua, he had several bonus caches that he got for his birthday, and he had them all over on a single DeLorean. So you're, I know maybe 520,
That sounds amazing.
526 centimeters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah, I believe that's what he did. He was going to have them. He talked about having them on the DeLorean. He had to do different things to find and to log it that way. So yeah, no, there's no proximity whatsoever, even to other physical caches that are in the location. You don't have to worry about those as well.
Right.
I guess one of the other things we should bring up, just because, I'm acting as the reviewer aspect of it, is that there's also a difference in every state or province or country as to how local land managers view geocaching or any GPS-based game. So while it may certainly be possible to create an adventure lab that takes you to locations that would otherwise be off limits to geocachers, sometimes those land managers will not be able to differentiate between the aspects of the game in the same way that some areas say no virtuals, you can't do that. The United States has the National Park Service, which for a very long time has had a standing where virtuals won't even be published without their express written permission.
Right.
So, I mean, case in point, just for me, across the border in New York, on the geocaching side of things, you can't put a set of bogus coordinates in a state park. Whereas over in Ontario, we don't care because it's just a fake icon on a map that we control within our own game. On the New York side, if they see that, they will write to the reviewers and say, nope, that cache is invalid, get rid of it. So you're going to get different opinions based on what part of the world you're playing this game in.
And there, Joshua has joined us in the chat.
Yeah, he was correcting me. They're not all over the car. They're in the front yard and on the car.
That's pretty cool.
And I have a question for Joshua. If you, is that Adventure Lab, that was only temporary? You did that for your birthday event, right? And I don't, that it's not there anymore. So it was a very short thing. Yeah. If I remember correctly from his video. And that's the thing too. You could create an Adventure Lab that is only out for a short period of time for something specific or special. Am I correct? It doesn't have to be forever.
Yeah, Joshua created another interesting adventure lab that was based on ice sculptures and said that it was only available until the ice sculpture melted.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So that was on the map for about a month or so, maybe a little bit more, and now it's been removed.
Huh. Very cool.
Very cool.
I hope I get another one because I'm getting some really good ideas here. So hopefully everybody is listening and getting some good ideas. So Brent says, seen some labs that clues were inside traditionals, but that is not allowed anymore. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
So bringing up that point of a temporary adventure lab, is that if you're going to have a bonus, and I'm only speaking as the reviewer aspect of things, if you're going to have a bonus cache based on your adventure lab, the physical cache has to be available for a minimum of 3 months. So making one that's temporary for less than that time period may be problematic.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, temporary. Good to have you, Joshua. That's awesome. What are we doing? There we go. Okay, so who has the next adventure lab? We have Three Happy Campers are working on one.
I'm working on
Lyric
that.
Glass is working on one. I don't have one. I think Cash Drone has one.
No, my alter ego, my player account has one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but Luke Quasar has one. And how's it going? Are you done yet?
No.
Oh. You got until what?
I'm dragging my feet the same way I did with my virtual when I got that. But I got to make sure to do a great job.
And now I need to do my virtual, but I don't know how it's going to be for going live in April because nobody can go get it. Oh, well. We'll see. So what is some good ideas that you've seen? What's the best adventure lab you've done? Anybody?
So that's a tough question. That's a really tough question because for me, for two reasons. One, the adventure labs are new and interesting. So, there's that aspect. The second thing is truly, I've enjoyed doing every single one that I've gone to find. Whether it was because it took me to someplace unique in my own backyard or because of, it was part of a road trip that I went on. But each and every single one I've done, I've enjoyed a lot. I think that the most unique one that I've done so far is in Aurora, Ontario, where another reviewer in his alter ego set one up, and it uses a text-based technology along with the Adventure Lab technology in order to complete the adventure. That one was quite fun.
Wow, very cool. And here, Sim Rebel says he wants a third. He has two already. And I believe that now that he says that, we're going to be shooting through his area tomorrow, and we might be able to get his two
Oh, yeah.
adventure labs because
That'll be fun.
it's a part 1 and part 2, a historical area.
Oh, cool.
So
Trying to think, they're all unique, and I really like a lot of the different aspects of each one of them. Probably the biggest ones I like is where it takes you to an interesting location, or you're learning something new that you never knew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just
Yeah.
something that I really like. I mean, I love learning about locations. Of course, my wife has a history degree, so she loves that aspect of it anyway. So just even that's just always fun. And then you get to teach the kids at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, it's a win-win. So that's just really it. I can't tell you which one's been my favorite because they've all been unique and I've liked them all.
one, it's not really my favorite, but one that I really enjoyed was when we went to Chicago, the Dark Knight, and it had video. It had video elements where you could click on. So you're standing at the movie location, and you could click on a little clip, and it would show you the clip from that movie where you were standing. That was really cool.
That sounds
I like
really
that.
cool.
You know, Dave, you should make a video for that for your YouTube channel.
Wait a minute. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Of
And
course, you
Janet-
already made one. Go check out Dave's channel, Dave and Karen's channel. They got lots of great videos on there.
Thank you. Yeah, and this week we're working on a video for the Adventure Lab in Paris, not Paris, France, but Paris, Ontario. And I've just started putting it together, and so far I'm just like, wow, this is awesome. I just started. Janet, you has a question that had been granted one. Would like to do it, but it sounds complicated. It is not at all.
Really easy.
Yeah.
I
very,
think they're easier than doing a regular catch, to tell you the truth.
yeah. So take a look at Behind the Cache, Janet. That's Derek's channel, and he has one of his videos is on creating the actual Adventure Lab. It is super easy.
There's a playlist that goes through the app, and then there's two videos. One video's scouting the locations, and then the next video is actually jumping into the app itself to create it. They are really easy.
It's like creating a cache page. I mean, probably even simpler than that.
Yeah,
I think.
it is.
It's unbelievably simple. But when you get them, you're like, what do I do? Open up the builder, and then look at it. It's like, oh, that's all. There's nothing to it.
Yeah, it's don't overthink it. It's really easy.
Yeah.
As Ryan George would say, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Adventure Labs. What I like about them is what Gary says here. It's about creating history. It's a great way, I find, where you can't do a virtual. Well, you could a little bit right now because they've granted them, but this is the way we looked at it in our last Adventure Lab video. We said it's basically a collection of virtuals. You have 5 stages. You have 5 virtuals, and you go to a virtual in most cases, except for the video that we just did. There was a little bit more complicated to it, but you answer a question or two. What do you see? What is there? What's on the plaque? Something like that. But the Adventure Labs are pretty much general like that. It's what do you see at that location?
Well,
Yeah.
One thing go ahead.
They have a theme to them, so it's not just a virtual and a virtual and a virtual. It's like they're all connected in some way.
Yeah.
So makes it more fun.
Yeah, exactly, Karen. It's the ability to tell a story, right? Unlike a virtual where you're centered around typically one waypoint. With this, you can actually tell a story, and you can lead people through that story.
That's right.
And to the person who is saying that this seems like it's complicated, again, it really, really isn't. My advice to you, in addition to opening up the builder and taking a look at it, just think about a theme that you're really passionate about, and then when you build your adventure, that'll show through. The quality of your adventure will show through based on things that you really enjoy. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah, the way I look at them, it's a combination of a virtual, a virtual, a multi, and a where I go, and that's all three. Put those three together, and that's kind of what an adventure lab is with around a single theme. So it's really great.
One of the things I was hoping that Geocaching with Hailmeister would do a video for it, but he posted in the Adventure Labs Facebook page. He had a question, and then I tried answering it, but I couldn't quite remember how I solved the problem. But when you create your adventure lab and you run the test, when you run the test, there's no fence. So you don't actually have to go out into the field to test the lab. So my adventure lab was 110 kilometers away from home. So I wasn't going to run out to Niagara Falls to test it. You can test it at your computer desk because the fence is off. So basically you run the test on your phone, and you can get the questions. Now, the problem is, once you've done the test, you delete that test on your computer. The problem that we had and some other people had, and Jason had the same issue, is when you open your phone up again and you type in the answers will say incorrect because it's still thinking you're on the other test. So you've got to go into the Adventure Lab app, and I can't remember where it is, but somewhere you gotta swipe left.
You got to swipe left.
You can swipe it.
Yeah, to get rid of those tests. And I finally saw it after I was completely done. And I'm like, oh, that's where it was. So just when you're running the test and then you go, oh, I know the answer's right. Just look into the app and you have to find where it is. I cannot remember where it is.
Right. See, I didn't have that.
Give me another adventure lab so I can do it and I can make a video.
Yeah. I didn't have that problem because every time I did a location, I tested it, and I kept taking the QR code that they give you and rerunning it. The issue that I had was when I actually published it, I went and checked on it, and I could still log it. And going, there's no geofence. I'm like running up to the computer trying to make sure the geofence was set in, and it was. And about a day or so later, then it reset on mine where I did have a geofence when I looked at my adventure. So that threw me off for a minute. So.
Somebody has their speaker on. If they could take a look at that and maybe turn it down. I'm going to try and bring somebody else in here. Dan. There we go. All right, I'll be with you in a sec. Somebody say something.
Something.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. Okay, where are we now? Are you going to talk? Oh, wait, here's a question. Are you going to talk about how or if you want to discourage couch caching? So far, they have tried to address the fact that, I'm not sure what he means by couch caching.
Locationless, probably. Location.
Yeah, Derek, you've already alluded you like it. I don't. I think it's not, for me, personally, I think they shouldn't have locationals.
I don't think so either. But what I really liked was that how the community came together. That was out there. Somebody pushed the envelope a little bit. I learned a lot doing it at the same time. But yeah, no, I don't think it's part of the game either. But yeah, I wish there was a way that you might be able to take that aspect of it maybe and doing something with it, and maybe turning more into more of a mystery. And then actually go get a cache itself. But that would be, a lot of people have done that, but I like the steps that we had to go through and do different things. But I'm glad they kind of pushed it. Oh, Scott saying spoofing your phone to overcome geofencing is what he was.
Yeah, so I thought that's what Scott might have been alluding to. One of the ways that a few of the adventure labs have done this is by creating this prefix cache that I was talking about earlier. And the way it works is this: you put a traditional cache out that can be found through normal means, publish it on geocaching.com, but In that container, you have a code, and that code becomes the prefix to all of the answers for your adventure lab. So let's say that you go to that traditional cache and the prefix is Canada. Then when you go to the adventure lab for the first stage, if the answer is 14, you have to prefix it with Canada. So it becomes Canada 14. Stage 2 would become Canada train, whatever the answer is. So that's one way that people are trying to get around the ability for couch cachers to spoof their GPS on their phone and still pull up answers from Google Maps and other elements, right? So these prefix caches, there's only a few that I've seen, but they seem to be working very well. And I think one of the listeners on here indicated that they have one. So if you do have one, please tell us what your experience is with that prefix cache.
Yeah, I know for couch caching, there are ways to get around it. People don't know. There are apps you can put on your phone that will fake your location. So somebody can do My Adventure Lab in the Niagara region from Czechoslovakia, let's say. They can just input the fact that they're standing there and do the cache. You just can't get around it. I don't know how else you can do it.
Well,
the prefix.
The prefix is one way. The other way is to use answers that you can't find by searching on the internet.
Yeah.
And that's somewhat challenging. That's very challenging, actually. Most of the places that we look for to do adventure labs, the information is available in one way, shape, or form. So there are ways to do it. Prefix caching is one of them, but my personal thoughts on the matter are if somebody is going to cheat, you know what?
They're going to cheat.
They're going to cheat. I'm not going to let it bother me in terms of being a cache owner of an adventure lab.
Colin, here's a question for you.
Let's keep honest people honest.
You say, who is this question for?
You.
Oh, I don't know that you want me to answer this question.
Briefly and nicely.
And nicely, so, my comments here may or may not reflect those of Geocaching HQ. I am speaking as my own person and under my own belief, is that couch caching is not a part of the game. The true game is always played by going to the coordinates that you're supposed to go to physically and participating in the logging activity associated with the related geocache or, in this case, adventure lab. To me, there is no situation where you should be logging something you didn't actually go to. How was that?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you can, Janet, I think it was Janet, you can sit at home and just click on the map and just any cache and just say, yeah, I was there.
If that's the way the game is going to go, then they might as well just put an edit button beside your find count.
Yeah.
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 So the answer to Houston, Texas Dave's can only be found at location. None of the answers are online.
Yeah.
You hope. Just got in from an afternoon of caching. I saw he was out with a group of people. Nicely distancing, though, I saw in the pictures. He was not anywhere near anybody else.
I was going to say, go get in the shower, Jeff.
Yeah, jump in the shower now. Breath, air. Oh, you can make. Oh, here. There. You can make obscure questions as well to a point. What to do when you're creating a fake account. What do you get from... Oh. Okay. Cache line. None of mine are... I think some of the questions I have in my Adventure Lab, you could easily get if you had Street View. One of them for sure you could get by Street View.
Yeah. I know that was kind of the reason why I did the Alfendor cipher on one of mine. And then they can get complete everything. I mean, probably some of the questions you could find, but it was, you had to do counting of something or in those locations, trying to figure out some different aspects on it.
So, Chris and Angie, have you learned anything yet so far? to help you out?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
we have. I can't wait to start working on it after the show. Yeah, we're hoping to get a good ways on it this weekend.
What is your theme?
Well, we're going to be doing our adventure lab in the small community that we live in, which actually has a lot of pretty good history about it. We live in the city of Collegedale, which is kind of an outlying area of Chattanooga. Has anybody heard of Little Debbie's?
Yes.
The snack cake.
Snack cakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right over there.
Well, this is where they're headquartered in Collegedale. So,
How
and
have you guys stayed so thin?
Well, I tell you, we go outside
you
every
can
morning and
smell
you
it.
just smell the.
You can
the
smell
Little
what
Debbie's
cake they're
baking.
doing every time you walk outside. I mean, we live a pretty good distance away from the bakery, but you can still smell it.
They have a really nice greenway here and a nice veteran park and a lot of good history and all. So we were thinking first to do ours downtown, and but then we're kind of weighing out towards doing it to Collegedale now.
Yeah.
So we started doing our research.
Good deal.
I have to say that would be one of the things I would actually like to see as like as malleable or as virtual cash on steroids as Adventure Labs are.
Yeah.
Most of it has been go to location, answer question, move to next location. I would love to see people start expanding the activity that's done at each stop to introduce new elements.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was talking to with Karen is one of the things I've noticed in some instances, the journal entry isn't elaborated on a lot. So you get the question correct, and then you click the journal entry. Good job. Go to the next cache. Oh, make that something more fun. Like
Sure.
more elements to it. When you click the journal entry, there's more information, or because I think the journal entry, you're still allowed 1,024 characters.
No, you're not
No.
allowed that much on it. It's only like 150 characters.
Okay, so you still have to be.
Yeah, that's where I ran into some issues on mine. And that's
Yeah.
why. And if you do a video, then
Right.
you use the whole journal part of it anyway.
Yeah.
On that aspect, it kind of cancels it out. I wish you could have both. That would be something I would like to see. You have a video aspect of it, and then you also have the other.
Yeah, I ran into this with editing next Wednesday's 1 Minute Wednesday. I had about 35 seconds to put in all this historical data, and I had to cut that script down so tight. It was like, 1 minute, it goes by so fast, and in some cases you'll see 1 minute. Well, okay, what do we do now? We found the cache. So 1 minute now. Yeah, you only get so many characters per. That's one drawback in the Adventure Labs. In some cases, you want more.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess I'm saying that, I'd like to see something like when you enter the zone that allows you to answer the question, so to speak, of the Adventure Lab, instead of it just being the rudimentary question, maybe a link to a video or a link to a website where you have activities that you have to perform. And then from completing that, you go back to within the zone to give the solution or the answer that you worked out from doing all this convoluted stuff. But you know me, I like to make things complicated.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've done. I still have to finish it up, but with our virtual cache, we wanted to have the questions. We asked the questions on video. So you actually, you're there. It's a really, really easy virtual. It's a one terrain, but we wanted to up the difficulty rating. So you have to go and watch a video to get the questions, and then answer them. Just something different.
No, they have to be a one terrain.
So let me see here.
You can make them as difficult as you want,
No,
right?
I don't think you can.
So you can make a really difficult lab cache then, right? I mean,
Yeah.
ciphers on every.
Do they have
stage or what?
difficult? They don't have difficulty ratings, do they?
No, they don't.
No.
Okay.
But nothing stops you from putting the 4.5 in the description.
Exactly right, Colin. If you're going to make an adventure lab that is a little bit more difficult, then it should be very clear right at the beginning.
Right.
One of the reasons that adventure labs are so popular is because they're family friendly, they're easy, they run as an app.
Right.
If we're going to make them more challenging, we should let people know right away so that they don't get frustrated partway through.
Right. Like you can put that right in where you do have in your description itself, you have 1,024 characters. You can put that information in.
Right.
Right.
And when I did mine for the international border, straddling the border, it says right in the description that it is a 2-country adventure lab. So people know right up front you have to go on one side or the other. So if anybody can't, well, right now you can't cross the border, but if somebody in the normal conditions, if they don't want to or can't, they can only do 2 of the stages in the States or 3 in Canada. And my adventure lab is not for everyone,
Right.
and some people, you have to use a phone. You cannot do them without a phone,
Right.
and that's just the way it is. It's a new thing. So
Right, and that's
Yeah.
where the GPS, what they talk about, setting your geofence to maybe be able to cover hot spots in the area. So, like, say that yours is close to a Starbucks, they can walk over to the Starbucks and answer the question, and then keep on moving. You can set it from anywhere from 10 meters all the way up to 100,000 meters. So you can log it like, what is it, like 70 miles? Is that what 100,000 meters is? Something like that. So you can log it that far. I have heard that if you have the app open on that adventure itself and you end up driving away on that question, and you could actually go back, actually just answer the question, it kind of locks it where you were before. I don't know if that might have just been a bug in it for some people, but I have heard that you can do that at times.
yeah. Somebody asked me to increase the fence on mine so that they could go get the answer and then drive back to Canada and answer it. Like they didn't want to go into the States for using data, but if you do that, then you can't get the bonus, which they maybe not care about.
Right.
But then once you're back in Canada, then you can't view the journal entry until you answer the question. So
Right.
and then you answer the question once you're back in Canada.
Yeah.
Well, now you got to drive back to the States because the question you're going to answer is in the States. So I just said no. I set my fence at 20 meters.
Yeah.
You just got it. That's the way it is.
Right.
As an alternative, Dave, when I created mine in Toronto, I knew that there would be lots of people who would be coming into the city who didn't necessarily have data, tourists from the US or overseas. And what I did was I set my fence to 1 kilometer for each stage. And that gives them plenty of opportunity to go and find some free Wi-Fi somewhere where they can answer and then move on.
Oh, maybe I'll do that.
Okay. It's different for everybody. I actually like how you did yours because one of the unique elements of your adventure lab is the fact that it's a cross-border adventure. It truly is an adventure, and the geofencing enforces that.
Oh, cool. All right, I'll leave it. So I think we answered this question, and then Scott answered it back. Could you make the bonus cache reflect a higher degree of difficulty that the AL was? And I did that with my bonus cache. It is a higher difficulty. It's not hard at all. It is an easy find, but the difficulty is the fact that you have to do the adventure lab first. You cannot find the cache without it.
Right.
Coming up at 8:15, we are going to be having a premiere of our Nashville adventure before we were locked out of the country. And there's the URL if you didn't have it already. Just go to Cache Canada on YouTube, and you'll see it should be premiering at 8:15. So we should wrap up within 10 minutes for that. And there's the URL for that. It's a 9-minute video. It's a little longer than we normally do, but we spent the entire day, 1 full day, dedicated just to geocaching in Nashville. And I think we did something like 14 virtuals, a bunch of challenge caches, and some traditionals thrown in there as well. And all in the pouring rain. It rained almost the entire day. Right near the end of the video, you see it's not raining anymore. And you can see Colin darting out into the traffic in a pouring downpour to get a cache while I stayed nice and comfy in the van.
We have caches hidden in Nashville. I bet you didn't find them.
No, you did. You did? Oh,
Uh-huh.
we didn't know. Oh,
I should have told you that. Yeah, we have a few hidden there.
yeah. We have to go back to Nashville because there's a special cache there at a museum. It's about a dinosaur or something, and there's only 9 of them in the world with a sharing attribute. But we don't have that attribute yet.
Huh.
One is in New York City, one is in Nashville. There's only 3 in the United States. One
That's
is
the
in
one that goes to
Oh,
Oh,
dinosaur.
the partnership attribute.
partnership.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that the dinosaur train?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a whole. They used to have them in every state. That was
Yeah.
the partnership attribute. Is the ones you're looking for.
Yeah,
I need
we couldn't get it because the museum was not open Sunday or Monday. We were there Sunday night, Monday, and it didn't open until Tuesday at noon. While we were at Jack Daniel's Distillery, but before that, so there you go. Road trip. Can you say that again? Yeah, we're going back to Nashville. Yeah. At some point, we might. Seeing how things go in the future, we might actually get it in December, because we had talked to the 3 Happy Campers about going back down through that way to pick up the earth cache that we couldn't get to southeast of Huntsville, or
Yeah.
southwest of Huntsville.
Mhm.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question. I wonder what caches are left since the tornado. Actually, we know the virtual cache is still there, because we were right where the tornado went through. I looked it up on the map, because when the
Wow.
tornado went through Nashville, I wonder if we found any that were in that area. That it was right in the pathway. So
Mhm.
I know that that one is still there. Nice job, thank you, all of you guys. Thank you very much. Job well done. I think this has been a good chat.
It has.
There's so much more that we could cover for Adventure Labs, and how to do them, little points to you can get to. I think Derek needs to do a part 2, maybe sitting at the computer showing the different elements about that. Or if anybody doesn't know, Cash Drone, right there, he has a channel as well. And if you, I might, well,
I
hold
didn't
on.
know
I don't know
that.
if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it really quick. Do you know what the, Colin, click on your, if you can, click on your YouTube channel and send me the link on Facebook Messenger, and I'll put the link up there. It's kind of long though.
So, David, based on what you're thinking of the part 2.
Well, I was thinking more on the actual computer part of it.
Okay, I thought I did go into the part 2 of that part.
Did
Yeah.
you? Okay, yeah.
It's
More
fantastic
screenshot?
graphics. You did a great job putting that together.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We did one on travel bugs with Bob Billy, but
Okay.
I didn't want to get into a lot of like how-to videos. Like we travel, we might be now because we're not traveling. We might have to resort to how-tos. But we
Right.
travel so much, we didn't have time to do how-to videos.
So a preview for this week's video, it's how to geocache during the pandemic that we have right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
that's a good one.
Preview for this week.
Wow, that is so up to date.
Shut
Wow.
up.
Skimbosh just put one out. I just watched it. It was pretty funny. Pandemic in a sewer.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, he's funny. I like it.
Yes.
There you go. Janet says lots of information. We hope that we haven't scared you too much. It is not frightening at all. It is
No, it's
so
not.
easy. So, and maybe we'll do another update once Karen finishes hers, and she can tell you how easy it is.
That's
As
right.
long as
And
there's no
just a note
profanity.
to Janet or anyone else who's looking to build an adventure lab, if you want any advice or any insight, please feel free to reach out to me. You can log into geocaching and send a message to Dougie B.
Yep, same here. You can log in geocaching, send it to Baker Six Clan. Happy to answer any questions, or you can email me, and however you want to do that.
And Camru has one too. I think he's got a, oh, we might be able to get his too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should
that's,
be able to. Yeah,
as we zoom past. We're going to be busy tomorrow.
yeah, got this day.
Yeah. Any one of us, you can contact us through our channels, through Facebook, through our Facebook channels. If you know us personally, send us a message, and all of us are more than happy to help with creating. And then we want to hear from Chris and Angie to see how theirs went, how they're doing, and then we'll do a video for you for Lyric Glass. We'll have the creation of that and how it went through. And next Saturday, we'll have a video on Paris, Canada's prettiest little town. So we'll have a video for that. That's actually showing you going through an adventure lab, playing it, and seeing how that works. Because the first video that we did for an adventure lab was an introduction to adventure labs. We did that one in Grand Rapids, but that was prior to the mapping that the app has now. And I needed to update it. That has the most views of any video we've produced. And then the second one that we did, which is we talk more about using the app itself. That one just took off like that, had over 1,000 views within a week. So adventure labs right now are hot. They're,
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
people
They
just
are.
want us get in and know more and do more. So thank you everybody for participating.
Thank you for having me.
Coming
Thanks
up
for
in
having
10
us.
minutes. Don't forget.
Thank you, Dave.
Don't
Thank you,
forget
Karen.
the bonus in
Thank you very
Paris
much.
at the after the yes, we did. We got it. We cannot show you in the video. We purposely didn't. We talked to the CO before we did it.
Got to have your own adventure.
Yeah, the bonus it is pretty darn cool. I've never seen a container that looked like that before. So there was absolutely no way we could show you. It is we go for a walk in the video and that'll be it. You can't show it.
Show them the video.
Yeah, you have to experience it yourself.
Yeah.
So that was very, very creative.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone. There you go. Cool show. Bye, everyone. I think it was a very good success. Thank you, everybody, for
it was
joining.
Nice of everybody to show up tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And I guess we need to sign off. So we will end the broadcast and then we'll say goodbye to our guests. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Have a
Bye.
good
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Everybody. And broadcast.